Planet Vero Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Growing Old Fearlessly, the show in which we learn how to navigate the process of growing older one day at a time. The ups and downs, whether it's for ourselves as we grow older or for caregiving. So today I have a very special guest, and I am so excited to have Terry Tillman here. Terry is, thank you so much for being here. Terry is the Community Relations Director for Certis, which is a premier memory care living facility in Vero Beach, and they do have other locations across the state of Florida as well. Welcome, Terry. I'm so happy.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Always excited to talk about Certis. So thank you for having me.
Yay. So let's talk a little bit. Everybody has heard about my dad and how I was kind of like thrown after my mother passed into taking care of my dad. And my dad has been diagnosed with dementia, and he's not in like later stages. It's nothing huge, but it's still there, and it still affects it. I was doing a little research, and I found out that about 6 million people living in the United States of America are living with either Alzheimer's or dementia.
Right.
And that is an alarming number.
And it's growing, I believe. Unfortunately, not everyone has or experiences the dementia, but someone knows someone who knows someone that's affected with Alzheimer's or dementia.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have facilities such as Certis that help to take care of people that are having those memory issues. For those of you who don't know what dementia is, and by the way, I am not a doctor, so don't take what I say as 100% accurate. Make sure to check with your medical practitioner for any issues like this. But dementia symptoms, there are several. So there's changes to short-term memory, which I see in my dad. My dad can totally recall what happened when he was in the Korean War. He can talk about when he met my mother. But he has issues remembering 100% what he had for breakfast this morning.
Right. And so let me preface as well, I'm not a doctor. Worked with the senior population for many, many years. Have a wonderful person, Josh Freitas, who is our educationer person at Certis. There's differences between a normal aging process, and someone may forget things, may forget your name. And then there's difference between having the disease of Alzheimer's and dementia. And I would highly recommend, if people are starting to notice, go to your practitioner, a neurologist, and get a MOCA test to do a baseline. Even if it's early onset, you'll have a baseline, and then when the disease progresses, then you can kind of see that baseline change.
Right. And you can pay attention for certain things that happened. Some of the other symptoms are inappropriate or out of character behavior, trouble completing basic or familiar tasks, mood and personality shifts, poor judgment, and poor decision making. Some of those things I had noticed with my dad as an onset of this. He has gotten better, I think, if that is something. I mean, he's socializing more. So I think that we have taken certain steps to help him. But So one of the things, though, is that when somebody gets diagnosed, the family member or the caregiver, whoever that may be, has to make a decision as to whether this loved one is staying at home and they're going to take care of them at home, or whether to take them to a facility where he or she can get the care that they need.
Right.
And so for home care, though, they have to make sure that they have some equipment to ensure the safety. That's one of the things that I saw as I was doing the research, was that a lot of the things that happen is they fall at home.
Yeah.
I know that that's what prompted me to take my dad to an assisted living facility, where now he's socializing, he's playing Scrabble, he's playing bingo. So he's keeping his mind active right now. However, having said that, sometimes you need a little bit more. So that's where a facility like Certus comes into place. And one of the things that I have heard about is the use of color contrasts and lighting. So can you tell me and you have said that's research-based.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit about how Certus uses this?
Yeah. So, and you can use it at home as well. So if it's a caretaker that's still at home, you want to keep them at home as long as possible. But that's the hardest job ever, is being that care provider, being that loved one, taking care of someone with dementia and Alzheimer's. So we recognize that for sure, and would like to educate the population as far as color contrast. In the stages of Alzheimer's and dementia, white on white is very hard for them to see. So throughout our community, we've used the darker baseboards, the darker handrails, because they can see that contrast. It aids with their walking. We also have green toilet seats, if I can show you that, within our community. All our toilet seats are green because a lot of falls happen in the restroom, and that's because that toilet is white on white. It's hard to gauge. It's hard to see, and so they miss and end up falling and breaking a hip.
Right.
So that's just one color concept that we use at Certus.
Right. So you mentioned the name Josh Freitas earlier, and while I was also doing my research, I found him. There was an article where they quoted him on caregiver.com, and he was talking about how the colors create that contrast. And he said, for example, painting a door a color that contrasts with the wall makes the door easier to find. And like, we don't think about that when we're thinking about, somebody with dementia. We're only thinking, oh, they're just forgetting things. But there's a lot more that is happening as they are getting older. This one, I need to try this one with my dad too. It says putting a colorful tape on the handles of a walker makes that walker easier to locate.
So yeah, we actually recommend lime green. Lime green is the last predominant color that Alzheimer's and dementia will see. So if you tape a step with a bright color, lime green, they're more easily seen. We also have our staff members, our care providers in our community, they wear the lime green. Because some residents may not be able to formulate that and articulate that word. Like I need Sally, my care provider, to help me. But, sometimes it's a nonverbal, and they'll point to a shirt, and we know that they're looking for a care provider. And it's that visual, that lime green. I want
the lady
visual.
in green.
Exactly. And some do. Some say that, hey, I want the lady in green, and they know that that's their care provider. Or they'll see someone with green walk by and they're like, oh, hey. So that lime green is very important. Other colors are important. I'll go back to what you said as far as the color of the door. Throughout our facility, because we're an assisted living, our doors are, their doors to their private room is white, but the hallways are different colors. They may be cream color, but if we don't want them to go into the mechanical room, for say, the mechanical room door is the same color as the hall, so that they don't try that doorknob and recognize that as a door and want to exit.
Well, that's interesting. So no contrast there to fool them. I think we're all going to end up with bathrooms and kitchens that look like they're from the 70s, because they're all going to be lime green from now on.
Yeah, I remember growing up with those avocado colors.
Yes. So another color that's important, and I know that you have a visual for us here, is red.
We do. So we have red. That is, we serve all our residents on red colored plates, because studies have proven that red increases appetite. So during their later stages, Alzheimer's and dementia, eating might be an issue. They may forget how to use a utensil, which is fine. You can use finger foods, but plate them on a nice bright red plate, and it increases appetite.
That is fantastic. So put it on red.
Put it on red.
I'm going to have to start doing that with my dad, because he always says that's too much food, much food.
Yeah.
And he's only had a little bit. He's going to watch this show too, so I hope that you're not offended, Dad.
He'll like it. It's prettier on red.
He is my number one fan. Just saying.
Nice.
So on that same website, caregiver.com, they had a few meanings for the different colors. Orange stimulates enthusiasm and creativity. So if you want them to paint or do a creative activity, perhaps they should be wearing orange. Yellow speeds metabolism, but it also says that it could patients exhibit aggression when they're in yellow rooms.
Oh,
so
that Josh could probably elaborate more on. That I don't know much about. The yellow.
Green, yes, it's the last color dementia patients lose the ability to see. So it's a good color for caregivers to be wearing.
We do. We have the nice lime green Certis shirts. So, yep, our residents see that for sure, because it's a bright green.
Yes. And I never thought about that until you mentioned it originally. And then I looked it up, and yes, there it is.
Yeah.
It's on the internet, so it must be true, right?
That's right.
Blue is associated with more peaceful sleep, and which dementia patients need more of,
right?
Because they tend not to sleep so well. Purple, this was very interesting. It said dementia patients may think of purple objects as sacred
and royalty. So they're doing a study. Josh mentions this a lot during his presentations. If we have items that are different colors, dementia residents will pick the purple and hoard them and take them more so than any other color.
Wow, that is really interesting.
And not that they hoard, but that's just another little activity to do at home is, get items, pick a drawer. If they're always rearranging or fidgeting, pick a drawer and put things in that drawer that they can just fidget with. And purple is one of those colors that, intrigues them.
That is very interesting. Okay, so add purple to the list. Of course, purple is my favorite color, so there we go. We have mentioned Josh a few times.
Yeah.
He seems to be the guru of that. He has written a couple books. I think that you have a couple of them here.
I have. He's wonderful. He's our education for us at Certis. He's wonderful. So he's written a book called The Dementia Concept.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also written a book, Grandma's Journey. And this one is for children who may be living with a grandparent, a parent who's suffering some signs of dementia. And it is very educational for the kids to understand how to speak to them, how to deal with some of the struggles that they have.
Okay. All right. And with that, we're going to break for a couple minutes and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Ralph Winook with Dale Sorensen Real Estate and ResidentialRalph.com. When you're interested in buying or selling a home, contact me. As your agent, I will work nonstop to ensure that your buying or selling experience is smooth and stress-free. I will be there for you at every stage of the process to answer your questions and help you make an informed decision. So, why wait? Contact me, Ralph Winook, and schedule a consultation with me today. Visit ResidentialRalph.com. That's right, ResidentialRalph.com.
Advertising is essential. You've got to make people aware that you're there. We can do that with a cohesive marketing campaign from Evergreen Media. Based on your business goals, we'll create a mix of digital advertising on social media sites like Facebook, video advertising on streaming sites like Hulu and Paramount Plus, and supplement them with local TV and radio ads. Build awareness, educate, and inform the public with a cohesive marketing campaign by Evergreen Media. Check out egreenmedia.com or search online for Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Welcome to Riverside Theater's Comedy Zone, where the comedy's wild, untamed, and downright hilarious. Come out this Friday and Saturday night at 7 and 9 p.m. for the Treasure Coast Best Live Stand-Up Comedy Show, featuring nationally recognized comedians, with cabaret-style seating and food and drink table service. Warning! You may laugh until it hurts. Kickstart your evening with live entertainment, food, and drinks at Live in the Loop. Buy tickets at riversidetheater.com and get ready for a night of non-stop laughs.
Hi, this is Ellen Contreras, host of Treasure Coast Connector. Listen to my show. I put a spotlight on interesting local businesses and resources, connecting them to you, the consumers in the community. Tune in to Treasure Coast Connector Saturdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. on your weekend home for Planet Vero Radio, Real Radio 1017.
Welcome back to Growing Old Fearlessly. And I want to thank Evergreen Media for making this podcast possible. This is their studio. If you want to take a tour, you can reach out to them on egreenmedia.com. Also, this portion of our show is sponsored by Residential Ralph Winook with Dale Sorensen Real Estate. If you have buying or selling needs, he is the realtor to call, and you can reach him at residentialralph.com. So here we are talking to Terry Tillman. She is the Community Relations Director with CERTAS, Premier Memory Living.
Yep, Premier Memory Care Living, yes. It's a long one, but...
It is. So I don't have dementia, but that's what we're talking about today. And let's talk about the MAPS program. Can you explain that to us in simpler terms?
So MAPS means meaning and purpose. Yeah, purpose equals success. So during discovery of a new resident, their family needs to give us all the information that will make their life meaningful and purposeful. They're not just placed into an assisted living just to exist. This part of their journey, it may be different than what they expected, but it is meaningful and purposeful, and that's what we want to achieve in their daily living.
Okay. You have another one of those that it's called the SPIN approach. So
yes.
What is the SPIN approach?
SPIN means so that we engage and we interact our residents socially, physically, intellectually, and nutritionally. All the senses that everyone experiences throughout the day. But those are the things that we want to interact with them daily.
Okay. So obviously they're interacting socially within their neighborhoods.
Well, right. And so socially, That is so important for dementia and Alzheimer's residents. Sometimes they're living at home with their husband or their wife, and they're thriving. However, that social aspect might be lacking at home. When you get into a community living like ours, it heightens and they bounce back and thrive and create new contacts, create new friendships. And social aspect is so important, just as much as nutrition or stimulating them intellectually.
Right. And that was one of the things when I was talking about my dad, when my dad was at home living by himself.
Yeah.
He didn't have that social interaction and he didn't even realize that he needed it.
Right.
And now that he is somewhere else, he has that interaction. You know, it might be something as simple as playing bingo, but he's surrounded by people. And now we see him and he is thriving. He is doing much better.
Right.
Nutritionally, though, you had mentioned a special diet.
We do. We do a Mediterranean diet because we're a research-based community. We studies have proven that the Mediterranean diet decreases the progression of the disease by 53%, which is a huge number.
Wow.
Yeah. So diet is very important.
Yes. So for those of you who are doing the caregiving at home, do look into what the Mediterranean diet is and try to incorporate that into the nutrition that you're giving to the loved one.
Yeah.
Wow. Very important. Tell me a little bit more about the FIT program.
So FIT program, of course, we're dealing with elderly. They're not exercising like they used to. We do short bursts of physical activity, and it may be chair exercise, a balloon toss, but nothing like you did in the gym when you were in your 20s and your 30s. It is short bursts. It's more beneficial for them, and they enjoy it.
That is great. I'm telling you what, Terry, I think that we have content enough for 2 or 3 other shows, but we only have a couple minutes left, and I know that you had a special offer.
Well, first of all, thank you, and I'm happy to come here again and share some more insight for those. But if anyone is interested in Certus and memory care, happy to have you come by and give you a tour. And if you do happen to move in your loved one, we will give you, with a special code, it's CER July, and we'll give you $1,000 off your second month's rent. So.
That is super. That is very good. One of the things when we took a tour of the Certus facility here in Vero Beach, you have it separated into neighborhoods?
We do. We have, when you walk in, we have a town center. It looks like you're outside when you're actually inside. And then we have 32 apartments on our Meadowbrook side in one neighborhood. And then we have another little neighborhood called Glenbrook, and there's 32 apartments on that side. No difference between the two, just small, quaint, and easy for dementia and Alzheimer residents.
Yes, and even like little details like the town theater and the carpet.
The carpet.
Can you briefly tell us about the carpet?
Carpet is called Flobo, and it's a very fine microfiber, and it looks like tile, or it looks like wood flooring when it's actually carpet. It's easy for those that have the shuffle. It's skid resistant and super easy and soft on their feet.
Great. Thank you so much for coming today. Let me read a quote.
Okay.
I always like to end my show with a quote. This is from Nelson Mandela. He said, "We must all work together to build a better world for our children. And that starts with caring for our elders."
Oh.
And that is what we're doing here.
Yes.
So thank you so very much, Terry, for coming to speak with us today. thank you to everybody who is watching or listening to this podcast. We will see you again next week. Until then, take care and make sure to grow old fearlessly. Bye-bye.